Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be why women can't say no. Well, if you're single, there's a good chance that in the past you've probably asked a woman for her phone number, and she happily gave it to you. And then when you went to call or text her or send her an email or whatever the next day or a few days later to set up a date, she doesn't return your call. She doesn't return your text. Or maybe you called her and you talked about getting together for a date, and she says, I'm not really sure what my schedule's like, but give me a call later in the week and maybe we'll set something up then. And you're like, okay, great. And you hang up the phone, call her 3 or 4 days later, and you fucking never get her on the phone again. You're going, what the fuck? She gave me your phone number, and like, what's the deal? Well, here's something you may not know. And this is because I got a great email here from a guy whose girl has actually done this. And the thing what you want to do is I want you just for a second to imagine yourself walking in a woman's shoes, seeing through her eyes what she sees, and trying to feel what she feels internally when she's talking to a guy and he asks her on a date or says, hey, can I get your phone number? And she says, I have a boyfriend. And he just says, but give me your number anyways. Maybe it won't work out. And he's kind of persistent. And it's almost as if it's like he didn't hear what he says. I mean, I've been in situations where I've been out and I've been with my girlfriends, and some dude starts hitting on one of my girlfriends when I happen to be away or something, and he keeps hitting on her. And she's like, I have a boyfriend. That's my boyfriend. I fucking love him. He's the best thing since sliced bread. And he won't go away. It's like, it's like a fucking robot. They just, they just keep going after it. It's like programmed like a fucking zombie. It's like they won't go away. And so a lot of women, what they've learned to do in these situations is, you got to keep in mind, women are usually smaller physically than us guys. They're petite. They're just physically not as big as us and able to handle themselves in a physical situation like guys can. And so women have just learned, hey, you know what? It's easier just to give out my phone number to a guy, and then I'll just ignore his phone calls or his texts or his emails. And then hopefully after, I don't know, a couple days, couple weeks, he'll get the hint that I'm not going to call him, and he'll go away. And so a lot of women do it that way because when they say no in person, it's just always, most times it's going to create, the guy just doesn't know how to react, and it just creates an awkward situation. And so women have learned it's just fucking easier. Just say, yeah, sure, here's my number. And they get the number, and they just ignore them. They because the way they look at it, it's just easier to do that, and then they can go on about their lives. And the guy walks off thinking, all right, I'm going to call this girl, and she's going to be my future wife, and blah, blah, blah. And he's all excited and proud of himself. And she's walking away thinking, whew, boy, I'm going to let him talk to my voicemail when he fucking calls me. And so the dude calls, and she figures out, you know what, he'll just wear himself out when he calls my voicemail, and he'll just leave me alone. And what women deep down are really afraid of is they're afraid of the guy that won't take no for an answer, that he'll just keep calling, and they're afraid of a dude that becomes a stalker, or a guy that shows up at her work all the time thinking he's going to force her to go out on a date with him because, like, well, you gave me your phone number, what the hell's, And what they don't realize, because they don't take the time to empathize or be compassionate or try to understand where a woman's coming from or why she does it. It's like, because when I was younger, I didn't understand this stuff. That would happen to me, not all the time, but when it did, it was always going, what the fuck? Why would she give me your number? And that's why, because they don't want to put themselves in a situation where there's an awkward energy or an awkward vibe. So it's easier to just say, oh yeah, sure, here's my number. And they know there's no way in hell you got a chance, but see, that's why you should read my book and read the stuff that I teach on my website. It's because then you'd know what to look for. Then you'd be able to tell the difference between a woman who you have a shot with and one who you don't. And when you interact with enough women and practice the things that I teach, then what happens is you just naturally start to ask more and more women out who you got a chance with, and you can tell right away the ones that you don't have a chance with, so you don't even bother going there. You don't even get to the part where you're asking about the phone number, because her responses and some of the questions you're going to ask her that I teach will tell you that it's like, oh, I got no fucking shot with this girl. And then that way you're not walking around for 3 or 4 days, like if you met some chick on a Friday night or at a party or your friend's friend's party or something like that, thinking, oh, I'm going to call her Monday, Tuesday, and then you call her up and you've been thinking about her for 3 days straight, and she doesn't return your phone call. And then, like, for a lot of guys, like, hey, did something happen to you? Oh my God, you haven't returned me my phone call. I hope you're okay. And they just start, they go through this crap, and then a couple weeks later, it's just kind of, they just eventually they go away. And so I got a situation here, or an email here from a guy who's got a girlfriend he's been dating for, I guess, about a few months, he says. And she just did the same thing. She just gave out her phone number to some guy that comes into the restaurant where she works, and he's constantly hitting on her, and I guess she's told him no in the past, and then anyways, I guess recently she was taking the bus home, and, well, guess who got on the bus with her? And so, of course, he says, hey, can I have your phone number? And so instead of creating an awkward situation, she gives him the number. So he says, hey, man, I'm glad I found your website, and I've been on it ever since the first day religiously. Thanks to you, I've learned a whole lot of vital info. I do have a question, though. I have a girlfriend, and we've been seeing each other for a few months now. However, she's got this random guy hitting on her, and he comes to her workplace, which is the restaurant she works at, and tries to talk to her as well as offer her rides. She declines the offers and tells me about the whole scenario on how this guy is hitting on her. But one day, apparently, she bumped into this guy in the bus, and he asked her for her number, and she gave it to him. She told me about this and said that she expected a laugh from me, to which I did slightly. And so what that tells me is that she just assumed that it wouldn't be a big deal to you, because in her mind, the reason she's telling you this is because she's being honest and forthright and letting you know, hey, there's other dudes hitting on me, and you're my boyfriend, and I love you, and I care about you, and I want you to know this stuff because I don't want you to think there's anything that I'm hiding from you. And so she's telling you this stuff because she fully expects you to be like, not a big deal. And that's the right way to handle it. But if you were to get all upset, like, get pissed off at her and angry, then you're going to create an awkward situation and make her feel uncomfortable. And then she's going to think, oh, well, maybe my boyfriend's a weak little bitch and he's jealous and insecure that I might blow him off for another man, because that's really what happens. And the right mindset you need to have when you're dating women is that, you need in the back of your mind, if she leaves you for another guy, if a woman wants to cheat on you, there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it to stop her. She's going to do it. And so the only thing you can do is show up and be your best self. Be the most awesome, amazing date or boyfriend that she's ever had. But, at the end of the day, that still might not be enough for a woman that doesn't have integrity, or a woman, especially a woman that's very insecure about herself, because they'll go and, just like the article I wrote yesterday, that's exactly what happened in that particular case. So he says, maybe I have a different outlook on things, to which in my own mind, she could have just declined and said that she was seeing someone or had a boyfriend. And that's what any guy would think that. I asked her about this, and she said it seemed rude if she simply declined. And this is important because this is a woman talking here. It reveals why she the way she thinks. And I talk about this in my book. She doesn't want the awkwardness that she has to deal with after saying no. First off, she did tell me this for the reasons to which I think she's being very open. And I'd say that's a good sign. She trusts you, and she trusts that you're not going to freak out and cause a bunch of drama over this little thing, because to her, clearly, it's no big deal. This guy, doesn't have a chance with her. With that, I guess she has a level of trust in me, too. Also, she did explain that she didn't know how to respond to this situation and kind of felt bad for the guy. So for the sake of getting him off her back about hitting on her, she said that she gave him her number anyway. She told me that if he did call, that she would ignore him, and that somehow this works for her getting guys to stop bugging her. Again, more confirmation for what I write about in my book. I don't understand why, but could she have just said no instead? I mean, is this normal for women? Should I toss her off the plank? Or am I reading way too much into this? I tease her now and then about giving her number away to random dudes, and we have a laugh about it. And I would say fucking stop that shit immediately. Because when you bring it up and you tease her about it, it communicates that you're uncomfortable about the fact that she gave your phone number to other guys, and you weren't authentic about how to resolve this situation. And so, since it wasn't resolved to your satisfaction, you're basically teasing her about it, which is a way you're communicating weakness about it. So he said, I won't control her in any way, since I'm confident enough as a grown man that if she fucks up, then all that is left for me to do is to say, peace out. Is that too harsh? Am I being a fucking bitch whining about the fact that she did give her number away, or do I have a legitimate reason to be more curious about the situation? Anyways, do you think her reasons for what she did was right? I just want to know what your take is on this. And I would say that, she's acting like most women are going to act. But, I mean, at the end of the day, what I would say to her is I'd say, look, honey, you're my girlfriend, I'm your boyfriend, and out of respect for our relationship, you got to be honest with other men. Because when you give your number out, the guy's thinking he's got a chance with you. And not only is it not a nice thing to do to lead him on and make him think he's got a chance, but it's kind of rude and disrespectful to me as your boyfriend, the fact that you're doing it. And I appreciate and I love you for the fact that you are telling me about it, but it's in an inappropriate situation. I could understand if we're just casually dating and we're not serious or anything. It's like, I don't really give a shit. But you're my girlfriend and I'm your boyfriend and we're in an exclusive relationship. And you should just say, you know what, I'm really flattered that you asked, but I have a boyfriend and I love him very much and we're very happy together. So thank you, but I have to decline the offer. And then that's all you got to say. And if for some reason the guy won't take no or whatever, or worst case, the guy starts, say she's giving the number out and he starts blowing up her phone and the guy won't stop, and you can pick up the phone and say, look, dude, I'm sure if the roles were reversed and the situation was reversed, you would not appreciate some other dude trying to rip off your girlfriend. So I would appreciate it if you would stop calling my girlfriend because you're making her uncomfortable. You're making her uncomfortable at work. And I would appreciate it if you would stop. So are we cool? And most guys would say, oh, I'm so sorry, dude. I didn't know, blah, and they'll go away. But if the guy is a dick about it and he's persistent about it because, those dudes are out there and he won't stop, then the next thing you can do is then you obviously take it to her manager and the authorities and let them deal with it. Let them deal with a restraining order because that's the only thing that you can do at that point. I mean, it's not wise to get on the phone and say, I'm going to kick your fucking ass if you call my girlfriend again because you're just asking for trouble. But if you talk in it like a gentleman to gentleman, just say, look, dude, I'd appreciate it if you stop calling my girlfriend because you're really making her feel uncomfortable. And, we're sitting here trying to enjoy a nice evening together and you're blowing up her phone and it's just rude and it's inconsiderate and I'd appreciate it if you'd stop. Hey, then that's all you got to say and then you're done. So if you find this message of value, you could show your appreciation by going down to the Wivia toolbar at the bottom of your screen if you're watching this video on my website and click the PayPal donate button and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information in this video. At the very least, please share this page with all your friends and family by clicking any one of the social network sharing buttons, which are also located on the Wivia toolbar at the bottom of your screen. And if you got a question you'd like to ask me, or there's a topic you want me to cover in a future video newsletter, click the Contact Me tab on the left-hand side of your screen and send me 3 or 4 paragraphs maximum detailing your situation. And you got to give me several days to get back to you with a response because I get a lot of email from the internet and I also get a lot of it from my paying phone coaching customers. I obviously got to focus on their emails first, but be patient. I will get back to you. And if you want to talk to me right away, the best way to talk to me quickly so I can help you personally is by clicking the Products tab at the top of your screen and just follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.